If you have ever replayed a conversation from 3 years ago at 2 a.m., or spent 40 minutes making a decision that should have taken 40 seconds, people have probably told you to just stop thinking so much. But psychology suggests that chronic overthinking isn't a mental weakness. It is a signal of a rare cognitive style that researchers link to deep elaborative processing. You don't overthink because you are anxious. You overthink because your brain refuses to accept shallow answers. The first reason you overthink is a tendency cognitive scientists describe as high signal detection sensitivity. Your brain is essentially running a background program at all times, scanning for inconsistencies, gaps, and hidden meanings in every situation. When someone sends a one-word reply, your brain doesn't read a text, it reads a signal. You are not being paranoid, you are being precise. Your mind was built to catch what others don't even look for, and it cannot simply switch that off because the situation feels small. This leads directly to the second trait, counterfactual thinking dominance. Most people experience something and move on. You experience something and immediately generate a mental simulation of every way it could have gone differently. Psychologists call this counterfactual thinking, and while most people do it occasionally, you do it automatically and in exhausting detail. This is actually the same cognitive engine behind creative problem-solving and long-range strategic planning. You don't just process what happened, you process every version of what could have happened, and you take all of them seriously. Now, having a deep pattern scanning mind and a brain built to reconstruct every scenario explains why the loop starts, but it doesn't explain why it won't stop, even when you desperately want it to. This brings us to the third trait, low latent inhibition. In neuroscience, latent inhibition refers to the brain's ability to filter out information it has already decided is irrelevant. High latent inhibition means you can tune out the noise. Low latent inhibition means almost nothing gets filtered. Your brain lets everything in, every detail, every possibility, every implication. Research has linked low latent inhibition to both high creativity and intense cognitive overload. You aren't distracted, you are processing a volume of input that most brains quietly discard before it even reaches conscious thought. But holding all of that input comes with a cost that goes beyond mental fatigue. Because your brain refuses to filter, it ends up carrying the weight of everything it takes in. This connects to the fourth trait, emotional pre-experiencing. In cognitive psychology, cognitive imagery research shows that the brain does not cleanly separate imagining a scenario from emotionally responding to it. When you are preparing for a conversation you haven't had yet, you aren't just predicting words. You are absorbing the emotional consequences of every outcome you can imagine before a single word has been said. This is why overthinking is draining in a way that is almost impossible to explain to someone who doesn't do it. You aren't just running more thoughts, you are paying the full cost of scenarios that haven't even happened yet. Finally, you might wonder, if this is just how my brain works, why does it feel like a flaw? That brings us to the fifth and most misunderstood trait. You aren't neurotic, you are resolution dependent. Your brain has an unusually high need for cognitive closure, a well-documented psychological construct describing the mind's intolerance for ambiguity. When something is unresolved, your mind treats it like an open file that must stay active until it is fully processed and closed. It cannot rest until it reaches a conclusion. This isn't a disorder, it is a standard, and most minds do not operate at that standard. The reframe here is everything. Society tells overthinkers to relax, to be present, to just let it go. But the same brain that keeps you up at night catches what everyone else walks past. It has already run the scenarios others haven't thought of yet. It absorbs everything most brains quietly throw away and carries the full weight of it. And it refuses to close the file until the answer is actually right. You were not given this mind to suffer through it. You were given it because some problems only get solved by a brain that will not quit. So the next time someone tells you that you think too much, don't apologize. Just understand that their brain is wired for comfort, while yours is wired for truth. You are not broken because you cannot turn it off. You were never supposed to turn it off. You were built to go deeper. If this resonated with you, drop a spiral emoji in the comments to show that your brain never really clocks out.